1965 Norwich track and field team. They won the Section 3 Class B championship over 21 teams, captured the Iroquois League title with a 6-0 record, crowned 8 individual Iroquois League and 2 Section 2 champions. They were undefeated 10-0 in dual meet competition. They qualified for the New York State Championships in 5 events, and they're being inducted in 2025. To present the 1965 Norwich track and field team is Mr. Tom Rowe.
Good evening. To echo what other people have said tonight, the congratulations to Hannah, to Michael, wherever he may be, and Kyle, and Jim. Talking about individuals is a lot easier than dealing with a team because, especially this team, they had a team of 42 people. And if you forget 2 or 3, then you're denigrating them and the other people are happy, but 3 people are not. So I'm going to give you a little brief history. Because prior to 1965, Norwich track and field was basically skewed because they didn't really have a legitimate venue to perform on. Shortly after the end of World War I, the program began. It being about the 4th oldest sport in Norwich history. But at that time, you'd have a handful of people one year, no one the next year, and that persisted throughout the 20s. So it really wasn't a legitimate league or anything like that. People would basically, the athletic director might call Walton or they might call Morrisville, and they try to get a meet together. Maybe there would only be 5 events, maybe there was 10. It all depends on how many people were involved. As a matter of fact, in 1931, there was a fellow by the name of Hubert Tucker, and he was a half-miler, and he was the lone member of the Norwich track and field team. So things have changed a lot since then. But 2 years later, basically in the early days of FDR, work progress and things, work began on a track at Cortlandt Street Park. I don't know where the Kurt Meyer pool is now. And everything went rather well until they found that the configuration of the land there did not meet the requirements to have a quarter-mile track. It was just too tight. So instead of a quarter-mile track, they built a 1/5 mile track. But Norwich existed there for the next 24 years, through 1958. And they had success, but still they were working in a situation that was not a legitimate track. And then prior to that, or after that I should say, construction by the city began on a municipal pool, a new municipal pool, because they used to use the Canasquaka Creek as a swimming. And that pool still exists today as the Kurt Meyer pool. So as the construction began, no more track. So in the years of 1959 and 1960, all meets were on the road. And then in late 1960, Joe Grabowski was hired as a football coach, who also came along as a track coach. And I don't know if it was Joe or the school board or whatever, but they said, no more meets on the road all the time. We want to have something at home. So basically what happened, they concocted and created a grass track in deep center field at the ballpark at Veterans Park. And it wasn't like running on a flat surface. You had nooks and crannies and dips, and maybe if you're running the mile or the 2 mile, it's not so bad. But when you're running the 100 or the 220 or the 440 and you're going up and down, it became a problem. But with the advent of the O&W going down, in 1964 the new school opened, and with it a new track. And in 1965, these guys took to it with abandon. They had 72 people come out for the team, and after attrition, the picture of the paper in the program had 42 people. There were 6 people missing, and their names are all in the program. Not only, without mentioning names from A to Z, they were strong in everything. They were strong in the weights, they were strong in the distances, they were strong in the jumps, they were strong in the sprints. And that doesn't mean one person. They had a plethora of people at every event, and that's why they were able to do so well. So the thing about now, Hannah, Michael, Kyle, football, basketball players. Jim was heavily involved with wrestling. On their worst years, you had great crowds in the stands. These guys went undefeated, and unless they were playing for the Iroquois League Championship or the sectional title, there were more competitors there than fans. That's the way it was. They had meets were run at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. People were at work. They weren't flocking to watch them. So basically, with that in mind, I would just like all of you to give all of these fellows that came here today and the families of the departed members a well-deserved round of applause for not only being the first and only track team to be inducted into the Norwich High School Hall of Fame, but for the fantastic year they had and the records that were set in 1965. The applause for them is 60 years well overdue. At this time, I'm going to ask two of the fast guys, Don Cooper and Mike Robertson, to come up and say a few words about what the year was like that year.
I want y'all to know one thing. It's the first time I ever beat him. One thing I want to say about that team. Now, I was a sophomore, and as a young kid, the coach said, "Come on, I want you to be on this track team. I want you to lead these guys." Well, they were heroes. These are seniors. And coach said, "Don't panic. Your time's going to come. I want you to study him." We were both sprinters. He had the most fantastic start that I've ever seen. And if you look at the program, a good friend of mine named Scott Ripley took a photograph of me at his start when I was a senior. And I still don't think it was as good as his. Thank you.
Mike said, we're sprinters and this is going to be really quick. Congratulations, Hannah, Kyle, and Michael and Jim, who I think started in Norwich about the same time I started in Oxford. Well deserved. I'm fortunate that I got to see all of you guys compete in high school and see Michael at Syracuse. Basically, everything that I could say to you is in Tom Rowe's article. So I'm not going to stand here and say things that he has already written, and he very graciously quoted me a couple times about Coach Grabowski. And Coach Grabowski was somebody that I truly missed. When I went to college, when I got back, I spent time with him. He had a great effect on a lot of people. And as Tom said, we had 40-some people on the track team. Well, like 70 came out. Norwich High School, 1965, 70 people coming out for boys track. It was quite an accomplishment. I would like to, at this point, it's been alluded to how old some of us are here. So before it's almost our bedtime, I'd like to, members of that 65 track team who are here, please stand up. I'd also like to recognize the fact that Georgie Hitt, who had passed away, and Hank Scudder, who recently passed away, they have a family gathering here, and it's much appreciated that you came to show the respect you have for your athletes and this team. Tom has, but as I said, Tom graciously quoted us on some things, and if you're interested, read the article, and I have nothing to add to that, and we're out of here.
We'd like to recognize all of the team from the 1965 team. So Mr. Cooper and Mr. Robertson are going to help me hand out the plaques. So correct me if I'm wrong, I hope I don't mess anybody up or anybody's names up, but I'm going to, I want to announce the seniors that aren't here. If you are here, I apologize, but I believe The seniors from the 1965 team that are not here is Tom Armstrong, Dave Carpenter, John Doyle, Tom Drake, Mike Kane, Larry Moses, Tom Parks, Randy Reed, and Mel Winter. I believe they are not in attendance tonight. Am I correct? The seniors that are here tonight, Mr. Joe Casamento, please come on. Already up here, Mr. Don Cooper. And I believe Mr. Jack Leahy is here tonight. There are 4 seniors that have passed that we'd like to recognize. Mr. Rennie Jackson, Mr. Jim Rice, Mr. Larry Welch, and the family of Hank Scudder is here. So would someone from Mr. Scudder's family please come up and receive the plaque on his behalf? The juniors, I do not believe they're here, is Mr. Dave Bishop, Mr. Joe Carvaglio, and Mr. Ed Smith. Please give them a round of applause. And the juniors that have passed, Mr. Al Jim Armandi, Frank Alt, Rick Malloy, Charles Joe Otto, and Tom Wagner. Now the sophomores. I believe Mr. Ed Capri is here tonight. Mr. John Kalkiski. And of course, standing up here already is Mr. Mike Robertson. The sophomores unable to attend, Mr. Jim Benedict, Mr. Mike Cummings, Mr. Charlie George, Mr. Dave Laziski, Mr. Mark Mahoney, Mr. Leroy Phillips, Mr. Scott Ripley, and Mr. Tom Rollison. Is Mr. Tom Rollison here? Yeah. Tom Rollison is here. I thought he was someone else. Rollison, my apologies. Tom Rollison is here. Come on up and get yourself, Mr. Rollison. I apologize. My apologies. Another round of applause for Mr. Tom Allison. Thank you. Now for the sophomores that have passed, Mr. George Burton, I believe their family is here. Mr. George Burton's family, represented by his son Brian. Mr. Harold Burton, Pete's going to come on up. His son Pete, everyone. And of course, Mr. George Hitt. Would someone come on up? Yes. I believe it's his son. Thank you to all the hits that came today. It's a large contingent. They were all here for a wedding in town, so congratulations to the Hitt family. The sophomores that are unable to attend tonight, Mr. John Davis, Mr. Rusty Houston, Mr. Mike Myers, and Mr. Dominic Spinella. And of course, a special shout out to the deceased coaches, Mr. Joe Gersbowski and Tom Doc Lloyd. Round of applause for the entire 1965 practice.